I'm not really a Christian, so to say. I'm more so like, I believe in God. I believe there's a higher kind of power. Now, am I super, like religious about it? No. But do I believe that there's something out there and someone or whatever, it is? I think there is for sure something out there. I one for sure know that there is, that gut feeling you have. It's like, hey, you should probably do that, or like, hey, you probably shouldn't do that, or you should probably do this. It's like that gut. I have a lot, and there will be some cases where I actually have like a false gut. I guess gut, like I don't know, gut feeling, and it's not, I guess, that voice. The voice is like a lot of times overlooked, and when it is overlooked, I go down the wrong path. I don't know if I'm explaining it real well, but sometimes I'll create these, like, not intentionally, but I'll think that's the voice from the higher power, but it really is just my own thoughts trying to create a reality. But there will be a lot of times where the gut, it would be like an actual, whether it's like an actual spirit voice, power, interdimensional being, I don't know what the hell it is, but a lot of times I overlook it. And when I do overlook those specific gut feelings, I end up going down the wrong path every single time. It would just be like this little voice. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, and I'm a very, skeptical person. I like to ask a lot of questions. I usually don't believe in supernatural stuff. I used to, but then I realized it was all really bullshit. But now, I'm just observing, my reality and what I kind of observe. And this is what I observe. I see that when I don't follow the gut, quote unquote, the voice, and the voice is usually overlooked in the meaning of like, it's in the moment, it's insignificant to the point where it's like, whatever. And then those thoughts or voices, not literally like I'm schizophrenic or like I'm crazy, but it's literally like that little, I would say, a reminder or like something. I don't know how to explain it, but it pops up, I overlook it, and then I go along with my day, and then it pops up again, but it actually is reality. It's like, hey, why didn't you do that? And it's like, whoa, like I had a thought about that a while ago, and I just like, man, was that my future self trying to tell me something? Was a spiritual being trying to work in my favor? What the hell was that? Because obviously that was not me conscious, because if it was me conscious, I would have just done it, knowing me. So I don't know if this whole conversation even made sense, because it's kind of a complex topic that, I'm not the best at simplifying things down. That's what my COO does, and that's what he jokes about is his job, is like he breaks down my complex, ideas to be digestible to like a 60-year-old. So because I have, hard time sometimes, being able to articulate myself to someone who is not dumber than me, but like someone who needs to understand it at a level where, it needs to take more dumbing down, which is completely fine, because a lot of times, or actually just most people can only read at like a 3rd, 5th grade level. Like I can't even read at a 9th grade level. Like, I don't know if you guys realize, a 9th grade reading level is pretty fucking difficult, and it's a lot of times unnecessary. I don't think, like, a lot of times, like, using these there's a couple really big vocabulary words that are used in some situations, but most of the time you don't need to know a fucking 12th grade writing and reading level. A lot of times it's actually better if you know 5th grade reading level really good, because a lot of times that's actually what increases or decreases lead costs, because a lot of people, like, it'll service a much larger audience group, because most people don't understand that language level. And it's a little tweak in marketing that you can use. It's like, I see ads, they have all these, like, I'm not saying I'm like, okay, I'm saying I'm stupid, but I'm saying like, these guys are using these such big, humongous words that, I know wouldn't make sense to a lot of people, or like people would know the word, like know the general direction of the meaning of the word, but wouldn't know, what context it's actually used in, or like, what are the specifics of like, why did they use this word? It's like they just use a word that is just overly complicated, in the sense that it would serve a greater purpose if they just dumbed it down like a couple reading levels. So this is the reality of an entrepreneur. I have met a lot of the entrepreneurship people in my space, or just the successful people, and a lot of times they aren't very intelligent people. There is some, obviously, people that are intelligent, but most of the guys aren't very, like, you wouldn't say like, high IQ people. They have, obviously not dumb as rocks. Some of them are, you see them now, but they're not dumb as rocks, but they're also not like super geniuses. They're just people who really understand more so EQ than IQ. They have more EQ than IQ. And then if you have both and you're great, okay, here's the most dangerous formula. You have an exceptional EQ, you have an exceptional IQ, and you're an exceptional executioner. That is so dangerous. Also, there's a huge disadvantage to that sometimes, is because with those people, so with those people, if they're not a great executioner, they can actually fall under the analysis paralysis and wanting being a perfectionist and stuff like that. There's a difference between being a perfectionist and being someone who just wants it done right. Like, someone who's a perfectionist, more in the sense of someone who wants to prepare and make sure it's all perfect, rather than someone who does the thing, keeps doing it over and over and over again to make sure it meets up to a standard. And a lot of times, people will call me a perfectionist, and sometimes I'll get comments saying, you're doing too much, or you're too picky, and bro, I just want it my way and my standard. Why do you have to bring me down like that? I want it at the standard I want it, and what's the problem with that? There's no problem with wanting something at your standard if you deserve it. Now, if you don't, that just makes you an entitled bastard. But for someone let's say, for example, Jackie Chan, he was someone who, was a really great person. However, the people who said who've worked with him, it was really difficult working with him, not in the sense of people hated working with him, but it was in the sense of people, they had to redo, until Jackie thought it was perfect in his eyes. And he would be frustrated when it doesn't. And that was an eye-opener, because, it even at the level he's at, even with the amount of reps he's had in the music, or not the music industry, the movie industry, he strives for such a level of standard that even, again, his crewmates, his people work with at the movie sets are still hey, Jackie is a very difficult man to work with, but, that's what has created the Oscar-winning movies, award-winning movies, and that's why he's so famous, and that's why he's a world star, is because he has such a high level of standard for himself and for the shit he puts out. And that is exactly what I feel. I feel like any product release I put out, anything we put out, has to be so up to standard, and just wrapping this all together into actionable items.